to the first Startup Marketing Conference. I'm Vasil, and I'm so happy to see you all here. It's great to see a room of innovative entrepreneurs and digital marketers here to learn about best practices of digital marketing and growth hacking. Before we get started, I just wanted to give you a quick background about the Startup Socials, the project that is behind the Startup Marketing Conference, then go over some of the housekeeping issues, and finally dive into introduction of our keynote speaker today. Alright, we just have a, alright, I guess I was pressing too fast. Here we go. Startup Socials is a community, a global community of entrepreneurs passionate about connecting and empowering people in the startup ecosystem. We organize educational and networking events around the globe with the purpose to empower entrepreneurs and provide them with knowledge and tools to succeed. So by organizing hundreds of events and attending some of the partner events, I was talking to entrepreneurs, and one theme always kept coming through. Where do I start with marketing? How much do I spend on marketing? Do I spend on marketing at all? How do I get traction? How do I acquire users? And coming from more of a traditional digital marketing background, I tried to help as much as I could with advice. And eventually I discovered about a new generation of innovative marketers that emerged here in Silicon Valley. And that's how the whole Startup Marketing Conference came about, to bring some of the best digital marketers in the world, and as well as innovative entrepreneurs in one room, and match them together with growth experts and see what's going to happen, so everybody can learn, collaborate, and learn the best practices. So let me go over some housekeeping issues. First off, the Wi-Fi today is Schwab's 1 or Schwab 2 networks. Please connect here. The password is executive, all lowercase. Please tweet with the hashtag startupmarketingconf.com. We have a long day ahead of you, so I hope you all get caffeinated with coffee. And sometimes I get asked which session I should attend, but today it's really tough choice because all of the sessions are great. I highly encourage you to stick around until the very end, until the closing keynote and the workshop as well. If you would like to have a quick business meeting or stop by for the networking, we have a networking lounge, in fact, right across the street. So some of our volunteers here wearing the red badges would be happy to help you out with some directions if you get lost. And they would be happy to help you answer any questions in general. So it's all about you today, enough about ourselves. And here's some of the brave attendees that actually agreed to get featured here. Who is here to learn? Awesome. Everybody's here to learn. Great. And we have a great program for you. But before we dive into a keynote presentation, I want to do a quick fun activity here to help you get focused on the program that is ahead of you. Could you please take your cell phones out, and I encourage you to silence them, but also, before we get started, please tweet out your biggest marketing challenge. And we'll go ahead and keep track of that hashtag, but at the end of the day, this will also help you focus on the please take your cell phones out. And we actually will award one all-access pass to one of the attendees who will tweet. So let's take 30 seconds here to do that. And while we're doing that, some of you actually submitted some of the very good feedback that helped us out to identify what are the challenges that marketers experiencing right now. So a lot of you mentioned that user acquisition is one of them, monetization, we'll definitely dive deep into that. Conversion optimization, social selling, and some other hot topics will be presented here. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker today. First marketer at Dropbox, Lookout, LogMeIn, Uproar, also a Trim marketing executive at Eventbrite, Socialcast and Webs. Sean Ellis traveled all the way from Los Angeles to be here, and he doesn't do too many speaking engagements this time because he's busy on working on his own startups right now, which is a marketing software company that empowers marketers to better engage, understand, and convert their website visitors. With that, I'm going to give it up for Sean. Sean Ellis, welcome to the stage.
Thanks. Should have this. I'm good. Slide switcher. Hey, how are you guys doing? Good morning. So I'm Sean Ellis. Busto gave you a bit about my background, but I'd like to just start with, for me, it's really exciting that a startup marketing conference exists. About 7 years ago, I started a blog at startupmarketing.com, and not many people had really talked about that there was a difference between startup marketing and traditional marketing, but that there's a huge difference. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs and startup marketers in the room that would probably agree with me on that. That if you pick up a marketing book today, especially a business school marketing book, it's about that thick, and it's loaded with stuff that we don't have the luxury in a startup to focus on. It essentially, maybe there's 10 pages in that book that would actually matter, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that wouldn't appear in that book. And so the fact that there's a conference around this, and it's, a lot of conferences kind of take some time to heat up and get more and more popular each year. So I'm happy that all of you are attending, and I think that that there's really a place for this and a lot of centralized learning around startup marketing that really matters. So a little bit on what I'm going to talk about today. So for me, in working with a bunch of startups, I found that growth was not something you could just jump into. Growth was something that you needed to have a lot of things in place before you could effectively grow the business. And so today I'm going to talk about how you can stack the odds for being able to build a successful growth program, and one that's built on authentic, sustainable growth, and not growth that's fleeting and crashes really quickly. So some of the things that I'm going to go through are, one, just how do you determine the startup's growth potential in the first place? So, particularly for a marketer, this was a really important question for me as the marketer signing on with companies. If the company didn't have potential in the first place, I couldn't be really effective as a marketer. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about why stacking the odds for growth is important, and then how to stack the odds for growth. And then finally, I'll take you through a case study on one of the companies that I worked with that a lot of things I'm talking about today, how they were critical to actually lay the foundation for the company to be successful in the long term. And today, the company's worth more than $1 billion. So Vasil gave some of my background. The part that's really relevant for today is that I was the VP of marketing at 2 companies from customer zero through NASDAQ filing for those companies. And while I was at those companies, I recognized that what we did in year 4 completely different than what we did in year 1, and that a lot of the success in those companies really came down to the things that we did in that first year. That really determined the outcome of the company, the potential success of the company. And so after the second company, which was LogMeIn, I decided I was going to focus on that upfront part and really try to do lots of cycles to figure out what matters, when does it matter, how to execute it effectively, and try to get really good at that stage. And I'll share a lot of the learning that I have through that. First, I'd like to start with just the marketer's role. What is the marketer even supposed to be doing in a startup? So to me, the marketer is about, their role is about tapping into the full potential of that company for authentic growth. That if you go beyond the potential for that authentic growth, it's not sustainable. And you see that with a lot of companies, whether it's Branch Out or some others that just you didn't know what they did, but you got a whole bunch of invites for them, and they blew up, and then suddenly they disappeared. That's a company that grows beyond its potential. And so that's not what the marketer's role is, to grow beyond the potential. It's about figuring out who actually needs the product, how do I get it in their hands, does anybody need the product? If they don't, you're going to fail as a marketer. And so a lot of the successes that I was involved in, I was extremely fortunate that I got plugged in with high potential successful companies. Without that, if you put me in a company that didn't have a product that had all of that potential, I would have struggled, and just like anybody else would have. So really important. So ultimately, potential is defined by a concept called product market fit. And I'll talk to you a bit about what product market fit is. But to me, in stacking the odds for growth, product market fit is the foundation for all sustainable growth. Without product market fit, you don't have potential for sustainable growth. So product market fit at its sort of simplest form is just that a large group of people really wants or needs your product. If they don't want or need your product, you don't have product market fit. But that's fairly abstract. I first heard about the term from Mark Andreessen's blog, and he has since taken his blog offline, but you can still get it through archives.org. As all teenagers learn, nothing on the internet ever actually disappears, except maybe Snapchat. But most things on the internet are there forever. So go to archive.org, look at Mark Andreessen's old blog posts. They're pretty amazing. But he talks a lot about this concept of product market fit, yet it's still fairly abstract. So I found when I was working with these companies that I was able, through a single survey question, to really identify if a company had the potential to be growable. So for a lot of the companies, I actually asked this question before I joined the company to make sure I had the potential of growing it. And it was, how would you feel if you could no longer use this product? And if existing users tell you that they'd be somewhat disappointed, if they tell you that they wouldn't be disappointed, you can't build a business off of that sort of lukewarm love or indifference. I was looking for the percentage of people who said that they would be very disappointed without the product. Once I found that there was enough people who said they'd be very disappointed, I knew I had the potential to grow the business, and that's when I would go into the stacking the odds phase that I'm going to talk about today. But if you're less than 40%, I know that there's a lot of founders here today. If you're less than 40%, growth is the fastest thing that will kill your business. Trying to grow your business when you don't have product market fit is, there's a big study that was done, and it's the number one thing that kills startups, is trying to grow a business that doesn't have product market fit. So make sure you have product market fit before you try to grow. Just keep iterating product, keep getting feedback. It doesn't mean that you can't acquire some people, but you're not acquiring the people to drive scalable growth. You're acquiring the people to get feedback, to iterate on product, to try to find that passionate group of people that you can double down on and really make a product that appeals to them. Usage is obviously important as well. If people say they'd be very disappointed without your product, and then they never come back and use it again, there's clearly a signal that your product doesn't have product market fit. So you do have to look at usage. You do need to look at repeat visits and length of visits. But that survey question is a shortcut that can let you know what the potential is. So the really important thing of product market fit is the must-have experience. If the product's a must-have, then there's an experience associated with that defines the essence of the product. It's the key asset for any startup. You need to own it. You need to really understand what that must-have experience is, and that's the core of your sustainable growth engine. So a couple ways you can understand it are ask questions to existing users. Well, first you want to actually look at how they're using the product. So just studying how they're using the product can tell you a lot about what that must-have experience is. But then you want to know the benefits behind that usage. So asking them questions like, what is the main benefit that you receive from the product? If direct one-on-one interviews are the best for this. Long-form surveys are okay, but the more that you can talk and engage with people who are actually using the product, you're gonna learn the really critical information. And then once you understand what the main benefit is, this next question is really important. It's getting the context behind why that benefit's important. So just ask, why is that benefit important to you? And you can learn a lot about how that product then maps to their broader needs, and that becomes a really important seed. So that's product market fit on a high level. That's the essence of product market fit, is that must-have experience. That's the prerequisite for even thinking about growth. If you don't have product market fit, you can execute relatively conservatively, relatively cheaply in the business for a long period of time. If you try to grow, that's when you need marketing, salespeople, support people, infrastructure, and if it's not built on a foundation of product market fit, you will fail. So just be really careful about trying to grow a pre-product market fit business. It's not the end of the world if you don't have it. It just means that you have a different priority and focus in your business. But assuming you do have it, then things start to get pretty interesting. And this is that phase that I talk about, which is stacking the odds. This is the phase that I focused on when I was at Dropbox, when I was at Eventbrite, when I was at a lot of these companies on these short-term roles. It was coming in and saying, all right, I see the passion. People love these products. Now how do we lay the foundation so that people who get to a website are actually able to come in and experience and get that product engage with that product in a way that they're going to love it as well. And that